Good day, YouTube. 10th of March 2019 it is today. We're working on the 1971 Honda Trail 70, the CT70. Previous videos, I'm trying to get them all in a playlist for you. I think there's 7-8 videos or something out there on this thing so far. Back from when I first picked this up at, believe it or not, an outside antique show late last summer. Paid $250 for it. Got it running. She got a new carburetor on it. Cleaned it up. Went through the ignition. Put in all new coils and everything, and charge coils, and now we're trying to wire it all up. So here's the deal. When you buy, like, aftermarket speedometer, I bought a factory wiring harness, a factory ignition switch, and then aftermarket taillights and battery and etc. And when they all show up, they all have different connectors on them. No wiring diagrams with them. And today's the day we got to put it all together. It's kind of like that Johnny Cash song, and went to put it all together and all the holes were gone. Well, this is today. All the holes are gone. All the wiring has to get done, but it's just going to be a slow wire by wire process. Oh yeah, we put the decals on today. I put a video, just posted it on putting the decals on. Had to weld on tabs for the headlight bucket, and that headlight bucket paint matches depending on the light. You can see right now it looks like it's so far off, and it is, but you know what, that's all that's available. So I started off, grabbed off the internet the manual for the CT70. It's available online, free, and it's got the wiring diagram in it. The manual's in a PDF. So what I do is I turn the PDF into like a JPEG, a picture format, and then I took that picture format and imported it into like Excel or a spreadsheet document, and then I stretched it out over 2 pages and then printed it, because like almost 55 years old and my eyes aren't what they used to be. So this gives me a very large 2-page format of what was a half-page wiring diagram, and then I can see and read everything. I can even make some notes on it, because I've got a long way to go on this thing. So I'm using the stock headlight dimmer switch. I'm using a brand new, put this on yesterday, horn button. Got it fished in. Just got to pull it through the grommet and then get the wire down in the headlight bucket. We got all this stuff to make up in the headlight bucket, and we're just gonna have to take this wire for wire. There are a couple things in the headlight, like a neutral safety switch and a turn signal indicator light that not using, so there'll be some extra stuff going on there. This is the new harness coming out of the frame from the ignition switch. This side going to the headlight, the other one coming up under the brand new seat. Look at that brand new seat. The old seat was just trashed. So I got a battery. I haven't put any acid in it or charged it up. It's just taking up some space for the moment. And again, the connector on it does not match any of the connectors in the original harness. So I'm gonna have to cut all this up. I thought it was when I ordered it, or I'd have got a better battery. Anyway, I don't know if I have all the parts. I'm not sure about like the rectifiers and stuff. I have what I have. It's pretty much all on the bike for the moment. I might be short some stuff. I won't know that till I get into it. So I started off, there was just 2 wires coming out of the headlights. So I got a piece of heat shrink on it. I'm going to heat that up, and then we'll pull these wires into this area through that hole right there. You see that hole? Hello. And we'll start doing wires one at a time. We'll just find the colors, verify what they are, and probably mark them off on the schematic, the little diagram here. So this is going to be a all-day project, I assume. So almost 12:30, 1 o'clock or something in the afternoon now. Welcome to daylight savings time. It's the first day of daylight savings time for us. I know in Arizona and stuff they don't participate, so but it's not enough sun there to take you guys all year long. I understand. Okay, I'm gonna get started. I'll turn you back on when I got something more interesting to show you. I'm starting not to like that exhaust, by the way. I think the rest of the bike's pretty cute. I don't like the exhaust. Might have to do something about that. Check in a little bit. Well, progress is slow but steady. We got the taillight connected okay here. This actually plugged into the brand new factory harness that I put in. So that was easy. I had ran down to the auto parts store trying to get bullet connectors to fit these, and I wasn't very successful. I got what they had, but they don't fit. They are too big. So I went on eBay and I have some ordered so that I have some for future projects. In the meantime, I have scrounged up a few that I had from other harnesses. I might have enough to get through this thing. We'll see. Moving up to the headlight. I got the headlight all plugged in. I've got it taped up so nothing bad happens to it. It's a fairly spendy little item. Again, to the replacement factory harness, so this is actually working out pretty good. So this is a aftermarket replacement speedometer. Pleasantly surprised at how nice it is. And if I ever change engine or whatever and have a neutral switch, it's got the light in it for it. It's got the high beam light in the middle, which I'm about to hook up, and the turn signal indicator, which at this time I don't have turn signals on it. Then it's got apparently 1, 2. This, you can kind of see in there. It's got 1, 2 locations for a backlight. And it's the blue and black wire pair. They must pair themselves up into that harness and come out on one end of that connector. So I'll get the high beam indicator connected, and it's going to go here on this other terminal of the headlight on the blue wire. And this whole thing probably grounds. I'm thinking this is the ground wire. So we'll tie it into the ground harness, which is that green wire there, which I grounded the headlight to. So I'm going to cut all these off of this connector and tape up the ones I'm not going to use for now, but leave them available for future. And then get the ones I am going to use connected. Then I can put the headlight back in this thing so the darn thing don't fall and get hurt or something. All right, check with you a little bit. Well, progress. Got the horn hooked up, got the headlight hooked up, got the high-low beam switch hooked up. The horn button simply grounds the horn, so the lead from the horn button, which I fished into here, is routed with the throttle cable and then simply plugs into the horn there. Then the hot wire comes in, plugs in inside the headlight bucket. We got the high beam indicator hooked up to the high beam wire that also goes to the high beam of the headlight. And then there is 1, 2 backlights for the gauge itself, and 1, 2, 3 ground wires. So they're all made up in the headlight. I taped off the brake light switch for the front. I'm not sure what that even looks like. I don't see any provision on the handlebar for the front brake light switch, so not sure what's going on there, but I don't think we really need it. We've got the rear brake light switch here, so we'll get it hooked up. Stoplight switch front, headlight, one button, stop switch rear. Here's the stop switch rear here, and that's going to connect to red and green with yellow. So red and green with yellow, that's the green with yellow. So the stoplight switch is hooking up here. Those wires will need to be extended so they can be routed properly. Hope I can get those in there because I got the gas tank back in and stuff. Hope I don't have to take that out, just get those wires in there. Hopefully, because I got the air cleaner and everything in there now. Wow, bummer. Okay, if there's a will, there's a way. I can get them in there somehow. So, what I have to figure out is this selenium rectifier. It's plugging in to the red and green in the harness, and I see that it's the other two wires here. But I bought this battery box online, and it's way big for this little 6-volt battery. So I'm wondering if this is a 12-volt, and I don't know if this is a selenium rectifier or not, or if it's right or not. So I got to go research this thing. Well, I have all new stator and everything in this thing. I need to make sure this is all right. So, and you can see there used to be something slid onto that tab. Again, the battery box might not be right for the bike, so I'm not really sure what's what. So it's always good to just stop, take some time, go research online, and figure out what the right things are. Also, one of these connectors is correct, and one of them is not correct. These should plug together. Something's not right. It's basically from the battery to here. So it's this connector. It has the blue, red, black, black. Then this has the jumper and the blue and the red. So the jumper, blue and the red. It's wired right, but that's the connector. This is black, black, blue and red, different connector. They don't go together. So this was on the factory harness that I bought. I assume this is the right connector. This is on the battery I bought. I assume when I bought it, it was the right connector, but apparently it's not. So I don't want to go cutting this stuff up. This harness wasn't cheap. The battery wasn't too bad, but it's brand new. So I'll go research that as well, see what I got going on. Maybe somebody makes an adapter. If they do, I'll go there. I'm not gonna spend all this time and end up with a hodgepodge. So let me go do a little research on the selenium rectifier and figure out why my two connectors, one's different than the other, and I'll get back to you. So I did a little research, and for whatever reason, this connector in the wiring harness, and this was a Honda harness as far as I remember, is the wrong connector. It should match this one. So I did, I guess, good in getting the battery had the right connector on it. But they make a replacement, basically the other end of this connector. So I can order that today. I've got it ready to order. And I'll replace that connector with that one, and that'll just plug right in. These other two wires right there go to the rectifier. And I thought, well, maybe this is the rectifier. No, it is a flasher unit. So we'll leave that in there, and evidently there was a rubber mount or something here for a rectifier. So I need to get one of those coming. So for today, I'm kind of up against it wiring wise. I need to get a rectifier. I need to get the other end of that connector. But other than that, we're pretty close. Got everything else kind of tidy. I need to put some acid in this 6-volt battery. What I'm doing over here actually is I got this little 6-volt battery. It's out of an emergency light. I got it on the battery charger, trying to bring it back to life. I don't know that it'll come back to life because it wasn't charging up too good. Let's see what we got. Turn the meter on. With the charger disconnected, I was only at 3.5 volts a little bit ago. Well, it's falling quickly. Yeah, it's garbage. There's no sense trying to push any more in it. It's junk. Okay, I'll junk it. So, what I didn't want to do is put acid in that battery and then charge it up and then just let it sit forever. But I think we're going to have this bike out and around and do some stuff with it. So I guess I'm okay. I'll put the acid in it. If you haven't done these shipped to you dry batteries before, it comes with acid in the kit. What you need to do to really make that battery work correctly is put the acid in it and then let it sit overnight or a whole day or whatever. It'll actually sort of charge itself, and then charge it really slow after that. So it wasn't something I wanted to try to do today. I'll put the acid in it maybe later today and then let it sit all night or a day or two and then charge it up very slowly, and then it'll be good to go. But this thing only needs its battery for when you run it. If you don't have a battery in this thing, when you run it, it could put out a ton of voltage and blow all your light bulbs out, and that would be cool. Oh, speaking of that, this may have come with a 12-volt bulb installed. We'll have to look at that when we get her going. And then there was another bulb. When I was showing you guys the parts, if you've watched my video I posted yesterday when we were putting all these parts on, I had a taillight and a bulb. Turns out it was a taillight lens, and I got scared. I'm like, oh no, didn't I get the whole taillight assembly that has all this backing and stuff on it? Yeah, I did. It was the taillight lens that I grabbed was for the 82 Honda Urban Express project, and not for this. So I had the lens and a bulb. I think the bulb is for this, because I think that came with a 12 volt. But anyway, we'll find out. They shipped actually both bulbs with it, so that was good. I found a complete exhaust system on eBay for $42 shipped. I just can't resist that because this exhaust is so ugly. I think I'll get that coming. So other than that, we're pretty well wrapped up. So I don't think there's any reason for me to wait to post this video. Basically, I'm going to change this connector out and plug it in, and then these two wires here are going to go to the rectifier, which will mount there, and then of course the battery box just fits the other way like this, and the battery just sits in there like that. And I'll get the straps head in there, no sense it rattling around in there, and we'll be good to go. So folks, thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for your moral support on getting this thing wired up. We'll take my wiring diagram off. There we go. So the CT70 has come a long ways from it was when I got it. It's come a long ways this weekend. You know, it's always fun to just bolt a bunch of new parts on stuff. We had a couple things we got to get right. Speedometer cable. I need a return spring for the brake lever so that it doesn't do this. Realize that there's a spot for it, but we got everything else on this thing in pretty good shape. So we'll be street legal, and then we'll see about getting a title and registering this thing, maybe, sort of. Okay, gang, thanks again for watching, commenting. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you are subscribed, thank you guys, and we'll see you on the next video.